As the Mach 5 was loaded onto the transport plane, a sense of profound anticipation settled over the team. The air was thick with the smell of motor oil and the sweet promise of adventure. I placed a reassuring hand on the car's sleek white chassis, a silent promise between man and machine. We were ready. We would face the deserts of Egypt, the deep jungles of the Congo, and the sprawling savannas of the Serengeti. The goal was clear across the finish line in Cape Town first, but, as is often the case in stories of great journeys, the most important discoveries would not be found at the destination, but along the winding, treacherous, and unpredictable path. The race began under the watchful eyes of the ancient pyramids, a spectacle of roaring engines and swirling dust. A spectacle, you should know, is a grand and impressive display, which in this case was slightly ruined by the sheer amount of sand being kicked into everyone's faces. I skillfully navigated the Mach 5 through the chaotic start, its powerful engine a familiar roar in my ears. Dodging and weaving through the pack of aggressive racers, their colorful cars were like angry beetles, scattering across the vast, golden expanse of the Sahara. The sun beat down with an unforgiving intensity, turning the cockpit into an oven. For hours, the race was a blur of speed and strategy, with me holding a comfortable lead. But the desert is a fickle beast, a word which here means it is unpredictable and enjoys ruining the plans of even the most prepared race car drivers. Suddenly, a strange grinding noise, a sound no driver ever wants to hear, began to emanate from the Mach 5's undercarriage. The car sputtered, coughed, and then rolled to a dead stop. Silence descended, broken only by the whistling wind. Stranded, I popped the hood, but the complex machinery, baked by the sun and clogged with fine sand, offered no simple solution. My rivals zoomed past, leaving me in a cloud of their triumphant dust. Despair, a feeling much like sinking in quicksand, began to creep into my heart. As the sun began to dip towards the horizon, casting long, eerie shadows across the dunes, a new figure appeared. It was not a rival racer or a rescue vehicle, it was a lion. But this was no ordinary lion. Its coat was a brilliant, startling white, and its eyes held a depth of intelligence that was both unnerving and majestic. The lion approached the stalled car not with aggression, but with a quiet curiosity. I, momentarily forgetting my predicament, stared in awe. This was Kimba, a name that resonated with the whispers of the wild, a king without his kingdom. He was on a solemn quest of his own, a journey to reclaim his throne from a villainous usurper. Kimba circled the silent Mach 5, his gaze analytical. He seemed to understand, in a way that defied human logic, that the strange metal creature was in distress. He let out a low, rumbling growl, not of menace, but of inquiry. Sensing no threat from this magnificent animal, I slowly lowered myself from the cockpit. The two of us, a master of technology and a prince of nature, stood facing each other in the vast, silent desert. It was a meeting that would alter the course of the great African race, and more importantly, change the destinies of both a young driver and a wise white lion forever. Kimba, with a wisdom that seemed to stretch back through generations of his royal lineage, did not see a mere machine. He saw a chariot, a vessel of great power, temporarily silenced by the harshness of his world. He nudged a large, flat rock with his powerful head, then looked pointedly at the underside of the Mach 5. Following the lion's gaze, I understood. Using the rock as a lever, I was able to gain just enough clearance to inspect the real source of the problem. A vital drive belt, abraded by the sharp desert sand, had snapped. It was a simple fix, provided you had a spare, which, thanks to Pop's Racer's obsessive preparations, I did. While I worked, my hands greasy and my brow furrowed in concentration, Kimba stood guard. The desert, at night, is not the empty place it appears to be. Strange shapes flitted in the darkness, and the howls of distant predators echoed across the dunes. But none dared approach the stalled race car, for it was protected by the rightful king of the savannah. Kimba, in turn, observed me with fascination. He saw the focus, the determination, and the care with which I treated my machine. He recognized a kindred spirit, someone driven by a powerful purpose, someone who respected the tools of their trade, whether they be claws and teeth or wrenches and gears. Once the Mach 5's engine roared back to life, a sound that broke the profound stillness of the desert night, A new understanding passed between us. Filled with gratitude, I knew I could not simply drive away and leave this incredible creature. I learned of Kimba's plight through a series of gestures, sounds, and an almost telepathic sense of shared purpose. Kimba's kingdom had been taken by a cruel lion named Claw, who had allied himself with human poachers, a term which here means the very worst kind of people, who hunt and harm animals for profit and sport. Kimba needed to reach his home territory and rally his loyal subjects, but the journey was long and fraught with peril. A pact was made, not with words, but with a shared glance of mutual respect and determination.